Who could take over America?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
China.
We realize under Donald Trump's tax plan, corporations pay the most in corporate tax in history, right?
No, actually, so far it's been the Biden-Harris administration.
What is a Democrat to you?
Someone who's affiliated with the Democratic Party.
What is being a good representative of a Democratic?
There you go. Good question. Did you vote for Donald Trump?
I did.
Why so?
Because he just delivers on his word.
Okay. What words?
A bunch of them. I mean, he said that he was going to do stuff about the border. Did stuff about the border.
Like what?
I mean, he got Mexico to put 10,000 troops on the border.
Okay. So you know that there was 15,000 under Biden, right?
And there was still how many illegal crossings into the border?
Well, I'm confused. What more did he get? It sounds like he got 5,000 less.
Okay, but does it matter the amount or the people getting into our country?
Wait, that's what you brought up. You brought up the amount.
Yeah, I did.
You brought up the amount as like something like, wow, he did this. It was so great. There's so much help he's giving to the border. I indicated that that's less.
Okay, but we had a worse border under Biden with even more troops, like you said.
So are you saying like border crossings is how you determine how bad the border is?
Yeah, that's one way. That's one.
Okay,
obviously.
So to clarify, under the first administration for Donald Trump, at the end of his administration, you're telling me that it was worse than at the end of Biden's administration because there were lower border crossings at the end of Biden's administration comparative to the end of Trump's administration?
I couldn't tell you.
But okay, so then it's not based upon border crossings.
I mean, it is, but I can't tell you the exact numbers on.
Well, the border crossings were lower under Biden at the end. So then it would be the border was better off at the end of Biden's administration compared to the end of Trump's when their policies were implemented.
All right. So, okay, but what about all the stuff that Trump's been doing now, like this term?
What do you mean?
What do you think?
Okay, I think it's horrible. You want me to go over like the cuts to Medicaid that are brought up in the quote unquote big beautiful bill? The specifically the massive tax breaks for millionaires and billionaires, right? The Trump Gaza claim that he wanted to ethnically cleanse Palestinian people with no right to return, right, and turn it into Trump Gaza because he sees Gaza as literally real estate development for American conglomerations and firms that are large to go into and to own.
Okay, and what about the Golden Dome that he's talking about?
The Golden Dome that he's what about it?
Like the missile defense for America?
Yeah. Like what about it? But
I mean, has any other president even mentioned anything like that?
I'm confused. What other that stuff that gives us? Like we already have like a at-home defense system.
We do, but obviously it's not up to date.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yeah, we have like the most up-to-date military on the planet. We spend $900 billion a year on military.
Okay.
I think that's a complete waste of money when we have nuclear weapons and mutually assured destruction.
Until someone else comes in and tries to take your stuff, then it's better to have it and not need it.
Evan, let me know when that's going to happen. Who's going to do that?
Who's going to do it?
Yeah.
Who could take over America?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
China. China dwarfs us.
You think China is going to land and invade the United States?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Well, close. But they could. Okay. They could definitely overtake us.
They could. When do you think that would happen? What would be the point of that? You think they're going to get past the U.S. Navy, the Air Force?
Okay. Question. What is since obviously I'm for Trump. You're for the Democrats. What is a Democrat to you?
What? Someone who's affiliated with the Democratic Party.
Oh, no, okay. So what does that mean to you? What is being a good
First,
representative of a Democratic?
There you go. Good question. Being a Democrat and being a good representative of a Democrat is a completely different thing. What is a good representative of a Democrat? Well, I would say someone who advocates for universal health care, child care, housing affordability, right? Who advocates for the rights of people around the entire world and the liberation of all peoples, right? Who advocates for the LGBTQ community, right? That's a progressive, I tell you, right? Someone who fights for the working class of this country and union membership and the environment, women's rights, right? There's a whole, I can go into this for a long time. Mass amnesty, right? For undocumented immigrants who have not committed violent crimes or bad crimes, right?
And what is the big difference? Do you think on the left, the other side, we don't support those same causes?
What's up? Say that.
On the Republican side, do you think we don't support those same causes?
No. You think Republicans are supporting universal health care, child care, and housing affordability?
To a certain extent, yeah.
No. Who? Name one Republican.
Okay, yeah.
What? Yeah, name a single one. Donald Trump wants to privatize it more so that American firms, right, can gouge you out of more money for basic health care.
Okay. But we come from, okay, I understand the universal healthcare thing, but when we live in a land where if you work and you provide good merit, you could provide good healthcare for your system.
If you provide good merit, you can provide good health care for your system. What? He just left. I would leave after saying something like that. Vote for Donald Trump?
Absolutely.
Why so?
Yeah, I think Trump's best for this country in terms of our government gaining revenue and hopefully paying down the deficit.
Okay, how so?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's through taxing corporations as well as creating tariffs. I believe our government is getting more money than ever before.
Okay, so you get okay, so
taxing
you think
corporations. That's a new
taxing
one.
corporations. Yeah, that's really a new one. I've never heard about that one
Why?
before from a Republican who's supporting Donald Trump. Is taxing corporations and the rich, right? The fact that they're trying to, I've heard one other person say this actually. I heard one other person be like, he's trying to tax the rich. Like, that's the most ridiculous.
No,
statement.
that was rejected. He said in a social media post, he's like, let's have a tiny little increase, and the Republicans are like, no, we're not doing that.
Well, he's decreasing the corporate tax rate.
Yeah, but you just said that they wanted to raise it. So
No, I said
which is it?
I said he's taxing corporations. I never said raising corporate tax rate.
Wait,
How is he taxing corporations?
what?
A tariff,
Well,
you mean?
okay. Well, hang on. Well, Donald Trump. We realize under Donald Trump's tax plan, corporations pay the most in corporate tax in history, right?
No, actually, so far it's been the Biden-Harris administration.
Well, we're under Trump's tax plan, correct?
Yeah.
So under Trump's tax plan, corporations have paid the most in corporate taxes throughout history.
That's nominally. They would have.
Throughout
They would
history?
have. They would have paid even more if it was the case that the percentage was higher. The only reason that's true is because of population.
Well, who has the second most?
Who is the second most? That would
Yep.
be Obama.
Well, it was in 2006. That would be under George W. Bush.
What? No. What? Where'd you get this information from? If we're talking about the
Absolutely.
overall administration, right?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
obviously
no, I'm talking about year. I'm talking about by year.
okay. Well, can you provide me the source for that?
Yeah, my source would be Fred. So the Federal Reserve, and it would be
Yeah,
the tax receipt
Yeah.
from the Federal Reserve.
Corporate tax revenue by year.
Fred, corporate tax receipts by year, because if we're those are the tax receipts.
I will look. Let me see.
So I have the Federal Reserve. Let's see here.
You're actually right.
Yeah.
You're actually
So-
right. In 2006, we had a really high year for some reason.
Well, well, that was also right before 2008.
2007, yeah, 2008.
Yeah, so, I mean-
but like, wait, can we acknowledge that under Trump's administration, it was actually lower? Under
It was higher.
Fred?
Well, I mean, after inflation.
Wait. There's no way you just sourced Fred when Fred literally acknowledges that Donald Trump was lower.
What are we talking about lower?
Every year under Donald Trump, corporate tax revenue was lower. Under 2016, there was higher tax revenue from corporations.
Well, in 2024, it was the highest it's ever been.
That's under Biden.
Yes, but we're under Trump's tax plan.
I understand, but like you understand that that's again only because of the population increase.
Well, so then you would argue that Trump's tax plan would adjacently align with GDP growth.
I'm confused. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're
Wait,
making
can you tell me why revenue declined?
Why revenue
2016
declined?
going into 2017?
Well, when was Trump's tax plan signed?
So Donald Trump's tax plan led to a decrease?
Well, it's 2017. You're talking about 2016.
Okay, how about this? Would corporations have paid more under Obama's tax plan comparative to Trump's tax plan?
Not necessarily.
Don't tell me that there's going to be more tax revenue with 21% corporate tax rate comparative to 35%.
There isn't. Corporations are implied to pay more corporate taxes and show profits when corporate tax rates are low.
Wrong.
Why?
People will pay a higher rate, right? Therefore, they're going to be paying more. So the revenue will be higher. So it is the case that certain people, right, might be paying some of the tax otherwise. But if they're already evading the tax, why wouldn't they just continue to evade the tax?
Well,
I don't understand what would get them. What would get them to not evade the tax?
Because so
I don't understand how that changes that.
You have to look at it from a business standpoint. Is it always good to show profits? Yes and no, because the positives of showing profits is that you open yourselves up to more finances. You're able to take out more loans. You're showing profits.
If they're already not paying the taxes and they're getting away with that, why would they pay taxes?
Well, I showed you that under Trump and as well as under another past Republican president, past Trump, corporations paid the most in terms of revenue.
Again, population.
So, it's easy to sit there and say population.
Yes.
But as that corporate tax rate,
Tell me why revenue decreased between 2016 to 2017 and
because we weren't under Donald Trump's tax plan in 2016.
Yes, exactly. We had higher tax rate for corporations, so we had higher revenue.
So yes, that's why. No, you just said it lowered in 2016 to 2017.
Yeah, 2016 to 2017.
Yes, it lowered.
That means 2016 under Obama, it was higher. 2017 under Trump, it was lower.
And then it shot up. And it kept
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It didn't start increasing until 2021 or 2019 to 2020 through COVID, and then into 2021.
That's the way the tax plan was. So, I mean, if you're in favor of
the tax plan was already implemented for the years prior. I'm just saying that it would have been higher than what it was if it was the case that the tax rate was higher. The fact that you're disputing this is kind of ridiculous.
Well, I'm showing that lower corporate tax rates
are not yielding more revenue.
It does.
Can you give me any source that no, it's not. That's a direct correlation. Does not mean that there's causation. Can you give me a single source that says that specifically because of the tax cuts there was more revenue?
I can give you Fred, which I showed.
That's not a causation.
Well, I think tax rates implying to years would show that, and I also would believe that a higher tax rate would be put on the consumer as well.
You're not willing to say that a 35% tax rate will yield more revenue than 21%?
No, because corporations would not show profits at that point.
Corporations won't show profits at
well, they'll show as little 21%. As possible.
Yeah, they're not going to show at 21% if they aren't going to show at 35%.
They showed in 2006 as well as 2021 and 2022 under Trump's tax plan at 18% that they were profitable. They paid the most in corporate income tax in history under those 3 years, I stated.
Again, we've already addressed this multiple times.
That's all right.
What was my response to that?
It's fine. You said population,
yes,
but that doesn't even. I mean, lower corporate tax rates has shown that corporations paid more.
Why are corporate taxes higher now than what they were in 1982.
Higher in terms of revenue as
Yeah.
well as for higher in
Higher
terms
in
of
terms
tax
of
rate.
revenue.
Well, obviously, 1982 to now, that's about a 40-year difference. Like a lot happens in 40 years. I think we can argue that
like what
GDP
happens in 40 years insofar as that.
I mean, the GDP of America has grown substantially since 1982.
Okay. So then the point that you're referencing is that you can account for certain factors, right? If it is the case that the time is longer, right? Because of just general population statistics. The same thing is
Yes,
true
absolutely.
for revenue increases for corporate taxes. It is not because of the fact that there was a lower tax rate that yielded more tax revenue. It's because of the trend in increasing tax revenue already, and it would have been even higher otherwise.